back. Who's it? Sometimes it wants to, and there it is. 10 o'clock, right on the dot. How are we all doing? How is the day unfolding so far? I was just, just on looking up the weather, and it appears that we're going to have an event on Saturday that involves more snow. But I mean, after all, it is January. So I have stuff to share and our theme to talk about. So I'm going to take a sip of coffee and then get started. I can never decide whether it is just the taste or the heat. I think the heat has a lot to do with it. So I was here on Facebook, and for those of you who have just accidentally tripped over this, my name is Abby Hagyard, and I'm an Ottawa girl and a military brat, and I do these videos twice a week because I'm on a mission to, I don't know, channel my inner mom from, you can't do that on television, she's over there. My plan really is to, as my Viking ancestors were famous for doing, my plan is to help people navigate where they're going. And the reason you need navigators is that the seafloor and the outcroppings and the detritus, the floating stuff, shifts and changes. And what might have been a clear path suddenly is an oven. And so I'm always looking for the best and simplest win in order to make my day fabulous. And I realized, during our pandemic a few years ago, that it might be helpful to show people how military brats and show business people do that. So I'm on a mission to create this body of work. I've called it Pivotry in Motion. And the conversation is about how we do this, how we rise above, overcome, take on without overdoing, without trying to do more to be more, which is what all the motivators, all of the cheerleaders out there are trying to get us to do. Because there are times when we've really just done everything. Well, good morning, Charles. More snow for you. Yes. They just cleaned the last one up. So the last one was from Texas, and the one coming this weekend is apparently from Colorado. So I'd like to talk to all of my friends and fans in your various places. And, oh, you're going to get a hard freeze. Ooh, well, bring in all the stuff that's, fragile. So the conversation this week is evolving from conversations I'm having with my friends and my loved ones and my clients who seem to be on parallel paths. They seem to be hitting walls and more walls than was their normal. Everybody hits walls. They all seem to be coming up suddenly and falling over, and then to their shock and amazement and concern, they're having trouble getting up. And it's not because they have arthritis. It's not because they're old. It's because they don't seem to have the tools. They don't seem to have the focus. They don't seem to have the drive to make what was simple now. And so I don't know if you were on Facebook at all and you saw the notice that I posted for today's video. I found this thing a few years ago and it came up in my memories. They're training goldfish because why not? They're training goldfish to operate robotic cars, teeny weeny, presumably. And the thing is, when I read that the first time, and I thought, and then I said, wait a minute, I had read a study not that long ago that goldfish have a 9-second attention span. When I first read it, I laughed out loud and I said, yes, yeah. The reason they have 9 seconds is because they're not checking their phones all the time. Otherwise, they'd be like us. They'd have 3 seconds. How do you train anything if it only has a 9-second attention span? And by the way, if they get it wrong, who polices it? So this morning I said, who's policing? A shark? So the best laid plans, the best intentions, the best, what's the worst that could happen, often hits a wall. And it often hits a wall because we have not been thinking beyond the immediate narrow focus picture. So the narrow focus picture is, ooh, imagine if we could get a goldfish to pilot a robotic car. Think what we could do underwater. Yeah, okay. And then what is the question that somebody like me inconveniently asks. Then what? Excuse me, I'm going to sneeze, I think. Excuse me. It's my brain trying to figure out what's going on. And then what? Once we teach the goldfish, what do we do when it crashes the car because it's not paying attention? And what do we do? How do we get the robotic car out of there? And how do we, where are the paramedics and who are the paramedics? Like there's the stuff, right? That you automatically, when you're looking at a big picture, you're thinking, okay, yes, but, and then what? And then what? So I saw that and I said, yeah, there's the picture. There's the lead in for the theme today. So on Tuesday, I talked about a different aspect of this. I said, when is it time to clean our filters? Our filters being the assumptions and the presumptions and the baggage through which we view the world. If we were taught as children to be afraid of something, we would not be aware that we were taught to be afraid of it. We would simply be afraid of it. And that would mean that anytime we looked at it, we would experience fear, not because of the thing itself, but because of the preconceived belief. That's a filter. And we have filters that affect the way we see things, hear things, taste things, touch things, and feel things. So periodically, it's a good idea to do a little house cleaning. Just the same way we have to change the oil in the filter in the car when it starts to run sluggishly. We need to check to see if our own personal filters need cleaning or changing. I mean, when a car starts to run sluggishly, I don't think anybody says, well, it's an old car. But people are certainly, when they're having a hard time reacting and coming back from a setback, they are saying, well, I guess I'm getting old. Okay, we every day, all of us, sure. How about maybe you're carrying around some emotional baggage, some it's a term I'm working with and playing with, trauma distress. Not traumatic stress, trauma distress. What's the distress? Well, our worlds as we knew them were upended during COVID. It was a surprise. It was scary. It was traumatic, and we are still experiencing the ripple effects of that distress, and it's shaping and shading and coloring and distorting every decision we're making. Right? We look around, we're seeing the way people are behaving differently. We're more hesitant to go out, some of us, or we are overcompensating and going out like mad fools. We are reluctant to trust our judgment in things. Some of us are hoarding things. I mean, it is a trauma distress response. So in today's episode, I want to talk about those of us who are trying to muscle on through without paying attention. And I'm seeing so much evidence of that. I had a client call yesterday, and I had a previous conversation a couple of days before, and the theme was the same thing. I don't know what is wrong with me. And this is a person who's highly upset, highly upset. The previous person was just kind of exhausted. I don't know what's wrong with me. It's not like I'm doing anything different. And then I didn't then quiz them. I changed the conversation subjects And I moved into, because, okay, enough about you. I want to tell you a thing, blah, blah, distraction, laugh. So what's been going on other than what's upsetting? What's been going on? And I did that in order to come around from their blind side, to have them tell me how insanely busy they've been. How completely are you out of your mind? Are you listening to you busy they've been? And two things: they haven't noticed that it was busy. And because they haven't noticed that it was busy, they haven't given themselves permission to take a breath, to rest, to recharge, to give themselves time to react, fall down, rest, get back up. They're just obsessively pushing on through. And then something sizable happens, or not sizable, and it destroys them. And now they're terrified because it doesn't feel like a logical trigger, a logical reaction. They're over or under responding in a way that makes no sense, because they haven't noticed how loopy a life they've been living. And why not? You say to yourself, well, why not? What's wrong with these people? And it sounds like I'm making a joke. I'm not, when I say the reason we can't see the forest is because we are the tree in the picture. We are the tree. We're in the way. We're focused here and we're doing this, and we're not lifting our heads and looking around and saying, oh my gosh, we're not checking our bearings. We're not stopping as animals do. Stop, listen, sniff. We're not doing that. Why not? Well, because nobody has reminded us that we need to. So the subject for today's video is, when is it too much of a muchness? How do we recognize it? How do we create a simple, ridiculously easy little habit as part of our daily routine, without adding, oh my God, how many more things do I have to do? And I might have the answer. So I wanted to share it. And before I do, so the thing I wanted to, that was the red flag for me with my client, was the first thing she told me when she confirmed our virtual meeting, was that she'd been sick for most of December. Now, I had something, a cold, something in the respiratory tract, for most of December. I know why. I know why I had it. And whatever it is that was the trigger mechanism, whether it was that I was tired, or I was trying to do too many last minute things, whatever it was, I know that the trigger mechanism was a suppressed immune system, because for the last year and a half, I have been leaning into the wind like a crazy woman. From July of 2022, when I was prepping for a live show, and we took it on the road in August. And then Dave got sick in September, and I became the frequent flyer commuter to every hospital ever built within a radius of 50 miles, nonstop every day, 9-hour sessions at each hospital every day, nonstop, until we got to go home, and then remove all the food and buy different food to go with the diet recommended by the hospital and learn how to cook all that stuff and maintain a sense of normal and a routine for somebody who was suddenly and terrifyingly sick and now in a very weakened state. And then all of a sudden, it ended. And in the immediate aftermath of it ending, legal people and the ultimatum that I had to move, that I had to leave, that I had to not be in the residence until the will was probated for some archaic reason. And so a physical move, pack the things, sort the things, clean the things, find the new place, make the transition. By the way, 2 days before the move, the actual move, there was an ice storm for 3 days, and I was without power while I was packing and sorting. I had to keep stopping and getting in the car and driving around and around in circles until I threw up while my phone would charge. And then here. And the thing about moving is that it is one of the major stressors, because it is like uprooting a plant suddenly, plunge, and then putting it down. And a lot of plants don't make it. Military kid plants make it because we have surface roots. We're really good at it. Doesn't mean it's easy. It means that it's familiar. And it means we know what the next steps are. So that happened. And the settling in and the back and forth with all the legal stuff and the financial stuff and the da-da-da-da-da and the house and the gosh. And then you fell down in the weeks leading up to Christmas. Oh my gosh. Quelle surprise. When is it too much of a muchness? Then that's there, right there. There's an example. There's a really good example. And the first thing I lost the use of was my voice for 4 days. The immediate second thing I lost the use of was my energy resources. I couldn't get out of bed. I was just exhausted. I slept for 4 days. And gradually woke up and said, I think I feel better. Maybe I can see if I can make some soup. And I remembered the first taste of the soup, and I said, oh, this whole food thing is going to take off. As soon as anybody knows about this is going to be a winner. I mean, so I'm talking to my client who has, in the last period of time, not been through what I went through, but something equally large. And now she's sick, recovering now. And I said, so let me list this for you. Ding, 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 ding. Ting, ding, 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 ding. And she said, wow, you're right. Why didn't I see it? And I said, you were a little busy? And she said, yeah, I know, but she's a mom. She has 3 kids. She knows what it means to raise people and keep them healthy. And, you know, and I said, there's the thing. There's the thing. When we can see it because it's there, we can do our best to rise to the occasion and take care of it. But when we can't see it and we're busy, it's easy to miss. It's easy to forget to look. So in this conversation today, I'm not inviting you to say, what the hell is wrong with me? I'm inviting you to say, wow, I'm a lot stronger than I thought. Because we are all overcompensating. We are all juggling way too many flaming chainsaws. And we don't realize it because the chainsaws are invisible, right? So this is what I know for sure. I know that the thing I created, the habit I created quite a few years ago now, to give myself a place to check the boxes. You know, like you make a to-do list. At the end of the day, you check off the list and maybe forward the things that you didn't get to onto tomorrow's to-do list. Well, what I got in the habit of doing with that to-do list that has been my career habit for as long as I've been a freelancer, which is, since 1492, what I started to do was actually look at the things that I had on the list, really look at them, and ask myself how I felt about them, how I felt about what had happened. And what I had made the decision to do was create a small gratitude list. Because if it went badly, it was a lesson. If it went well, it was a win. If it happened at all, it was something to be proud of, because I completed a task. And so when I had this list and I was creating a gratitude component of it and an awareness component of it and a value component of it, what needed work, if it didn't go well, what should I be taking away from that? What did I do? What happened? What was I given permission to see, right? All that stuff. I was getting myself trained to be present in the moment for this task, as opposed to just going, yeah, got him, don't got him. I was looking at and reviewing how it had gone. I'd already made the list. Every day I make the list. The night before, sometimes I make the list for tomorrow. I look at my schedule and I say, okay, so tomorrow is, thing this morning, video, exchange with a couple of people for the photo shoot we're doing on Sunday, and reminders to bring things, and then get ready for, talking to you, thinking about how I wanted to say this. So each one I'm 100% focused on for a brief period of time, maybe a little more than 9 seconds. And then I go to the next one. And then I go to the next one. And I compartmentalize. Total focus. Okay, click. Total focus. Okay, click. Total focus. I do that. It's the way I do that to stop myself from getting spinny and dizzy. What about this? And what about this? To keep my brain going at a pace that is productive as opposed to frenetic. So that is an asset that I have. And in paying more attention to my to done list, I was reminding myself to do this, okay, shift, because it is the way that I can maintain my energy. It is the way that I can maintain my ability to complete in a way that I'm proud of, in a way that I'm learning from. So I have been doing that to my to done list for 5 years now. It makes me more aware, but not aware enough. Because if I had been aware, I would have been more careful, and I would have been more alert to the need for more self-care. What I had done that I recognized in the getting better from December was that I had put me and my self-care in the later folder. Yeah, I'll get to that in December. I'll get to that when I have a minute. Yeah, I'm good. I'm so comfortable here. Everything is winding down. It's all great. I'll be fine. I'm fine now. And that's not how it works. We can't ask the car to fuel itself. We can't ask the fridge to restock itself. We can't ask the laundry to wash and dry and fold itself. We have to do it, because those things are not automated. Those things are tasks. And if we have the car and we want to be able to drive the car, we have a list of tasks we need to take care of in order that the car runs when we need it. If we are overwhelmed and we forget, then we are the ones who have a car sitting dead in the driveway. How long has the tire been flat? Says the guy from the auto service who comes and has to fix the tire for you because you don't have the equipment. I don't know. I haven't driven it in a week. You didn't go out and look? Well, no, I was too busy. I was too busy to drive it. I was certainly too busy to go out and stare at it. Okay. Whose fault is that? Why didn't I do it? Because I didn't think it was a priority. Except that it is a priority. I have a small bag packed, and I have it near the front door of my apartment. Why? In case of an emergency. The other night there was a fire alarm. I picked up my coat, I picked up my keys, my phone, and my little bag and a coat, and I was out the door in 30 seconds. How long have I been carrying a little bag? Since the hospital. And so, good morning, Matt. Self-accountability is everything. You know, you're right. You're right. Self-honoring, self-respect, self-care, self-accountability, all of those things. You're absolutely right, Matt. They are essential. Somebody needs to tell us that, teach us that, remind us of that. Or our bodies remind us for us. Or the car or the thing remind us for us. And then we say, oops, my bad, because we get busy. So what I wanted to talk about today, under the heading, when is it too much of a muchness? How do we tell? How do we know? What can we do to keep us reminded of this? And one of the little life hacks that I've started to use is to ask people on a scale of 1 to 10, how is your day unfolding? And the red flag I get that they may not be aware of is when they say 4 or 2 out of 10, or they're over the top excited and they say, oh, it's a 14 out of 10. Then I know that there's a lot going on. When they say it's a 2, the things that are a lot, that are too much of a muchness, have been hurdles that they had to deal with, have been lessons that they were given, that they were shown, have been multiple oopses that overwhelmed. On the other side, when they're 14 out of 10, the only way you get a 14 is by a lot of stuff going really well. And in either case, and when somebody says, it's not a bad day. Yeah, I'm about 5 or a 6, or I'm an 8. No, it's going good. It's going. I know they're riding the waves. They're leaning in. They're leaning back. They got it. They're not pushed or pushing. It's their answer I'm profiling to understand where they are. Why does it matter? Am I nosy? No, it's just I want to know who's in the room with me. I want to know what the invisible baggage is that they're bringing, because I don't want to trip on it. And then if I love them and I care, maybe there's something I can do to help them with it. Maybe I can help them move it over to the side so none of us trip over it. It's part of pivotry in motion. So when I hear an extreme number, high or low, I say this. And in the middle of all of that, have you had time to breathe and look up and check the sky and smell the roses? And if it's been a 2, they say, I'm allergic to roses. Look up. Are you kidding? The last time I looked up, I tripped over a bear, you know? And when it's, over the top high, it's 14 out of 10. And I say, have you had time to rest? Who needs to rest? I'm having the time of my life. Okay, this is when you need to rest. And I don't mean give up. I don't mean shut the door, close the blinds, go and lie under the bed. I mean, take a moment. Take 30 seconds on a regular basis. You know the number of people who wear these Fitbit watches? Yeah. You know what they use them for? They use them to be able to keep track of how many things they're doing, how many steps, how many heartbeats, how many challenges, how many accomplishments. That's what they're using their Fitbit for. You know what they can also use their Fitbit for? They can also program it with a little alarm to remind them that this is their once an hour or once every 2 hours, 30-second me break. Not tea break, not coffee break, me break. 30 seconds. It goes ping, and you say, excuse me, I have to take care of something. Get up, leave, go around a corner, lean against a wall, close your eyes, and breathe. Just breathe. Do the 5-finger breathing exercise if that helps you. The time it takes for your index finger to trace the fingers on both hands while you just breathe is less than 30 seconds. That's all you need. No thought, nothing. Just do this. Think about the 5 fingers. Think about how it feels. And breathe. Easy peasy, simple win. And you're done, right? And you're done. And it gives you an opportunity to say, okay then. And you go back. Sorry about that. I just had to quickly take care of something. Oh, no problem. Is it a problem? No, I'm just good. I think more communication and face-to-face deep conversations are needed. Yes, we have so many effective ways to communicate. Why the hell don't we use them? I just did a summary there of Matt's comment. That's irony for you. We're talking at. Yes, rather than to and with. Yes, we need to take the time. Yes, yes, yes. Rather than get caught up with the next popular thing. And yes, yes, yes. Matt Lombardi, great comment. When you're watching the video, my lovelies, read Matt's comment. It's genius. Why aren't we? Well, somebody didn't teach us is why. And if somebody taught us a long time ago, nobody has taught us recently. Nobody has said it's time for your refresher course. Nobody's done it. We haven't done it. We haven't put it in our to-done list. We're in charge. We're driving the bus. Check the filters, check your mirrors, check your 30 seconds every hour, and begin. We're not doing it. We have so many things that are going on autopilot. We have so many things that we think technology can take care of. However, we are fundamentally still the basic human creature that is being powered by a very primitive emotion-based brain. It's good to stay aware of those things and figure out how to balance the differences. I want to quickly tell you a story that's very funny. I was just checking the time. I'll be in my new podcast coming soon. Awesome, the Common Sense Millennial. Common Sense Millennial. Why are you limiting the rest of us, Mr. Matt? And darling, when you mention my name, make sure you spell it. So here's the story. It probably was true once. It's now become legend. It's a story of a theater company in New York City on Broadway, professional theater company. And in the professional theater world, what happens is this: the producer of the show hires a director who comes in and, with casting agents and whatnot, reviews the script, has a vision for the show, shares it with the producer who says, fly and be free, contacts the casting agent, holds auditions, and walks and talks the actors and the crew through their vision. And then the rehearsals begin. The actors are given their scripts, the tech crew is given their scripts. The all the various layers of the people who make a show are given their copies of the scripts, much like a contractor gives blueprints to all the trades who are building a house. And then through the rehearsals, and the actors are learning their lines and yada, yada, yada. What happens in professional theater is that the director is there for opening night, sometimes maybe stays for second night, or maybe the first week if their schedule permits. But if they're a popular, successful director, usually as soon as the show is off and running, they're on to their next project. They've already been hired for the next project. They've already looked at the script. They've already had preliminary conversations with the producer. They've already got their ideas and so on. So they're busy. They have a busy transition, which is why they don't hang around. They don't go to the show over and over and over again, because the actors are professionals. The crew are professionals. So that's the backstory. So this is the story of a professional company doing a Broadway show. And the show has now been off and running for 3 weeks. And when the performance is over, the actors who want to hang around, there's an area backstage called the green room. And it is where the actors can go and have a coffee or a drink or a sandwich or chit chat and just kind of, power down after the adrenaline rush of the show, and then go on and do whatever they're doing, meet the press, go for dinner. So on this particular night, the actors come down 3 weeks into the run, and they're in the green room, and some of them are called from the dressing rooms or on their way out the door. Come here, got to come to the green room, got to see this. And they all go into the green room, and there's a notice on the bulletin board in the green room, and it's from the director. And the notice reads, rehearsal 10:30 tomorrow morning to remove the improvements. Because what had happened was the director was in the audience that night and watched the show. And what the director saw, and I guess came back because the director suspected this might happen, is that the individuals involved in putting on the show, each one had added a little touch. Each one had just done a slight fluffing of their hair. They had, instead of drinking their coffee this way, they had decided to drink it that way, because they thought it would be interesting to change it up, except that left the wrong hand free to pick up the prop in the next moment, and they had to fumble, right? So if every single person, you feature this, if there's, I don't know, usually 40 people-ish involved in an ordinary show, obviously not a big mammoth production, but let's say there's 40 people, 50 people. Can you imagine if each of the 50 people decided to add a little something? It wouldn't even remotely be the same show. It was just a little touch, yes, but there was 50 of them. And now the wheels have fallen off the cart. Rehearsal tomorrow at 10:30. So what we need to do in sharing that story with you, because I have been involved in one of those situations. And every single person, by the way, every actor, every tech, every person reading the note, they know exactly what they've done. And they've either been wondering if anybody would notice, or feeling fairly smug about And now they're called on the carpet. Now we're busted collectively and individually, and we're going to pay tomorrow morning rehearsal to remove the improvements. Yeah. So we need that heads up. We need that internal voice. We need that director reminding us from time to time. So my hack for that, my life hack to make that work, to have a simple win, to try and stay on top of it, is how I revised my to-do to done list. When I began to say, not only did I do it, got it, don't got it. How did I got it? What was the ripple effect? The world needs more Abbies and less Karens. Oh, Patrick. When a script becomes Chinese, a Chinese fire drill. The idea that autopilot works without oversight is a fascinating exercise in delusion that you don't ever need to check your equipment. Every pilot does a flight check before they say, landing gear up, engines on. Every pilot, everywhere. It's the law. Why? Oh, I don't know. Fell out of the sky. Upset a whole lot of people. Cost a couple of bucks. Every pilot flying anything anywhere does a pre-flight check. Every professional driver does a circle check. I know that professional drivers do it because I briefly trained to be one. And you get out of the vehicle and you walk around and you make sure there's nothing oddly hanging off the thing. You pop the hood, you look, all the wires should be connected. Do they look the way they looked the last time? Okay, wait a minute. What's that one doing? That's important. Better now than on a, So that is the rule for professionals, that before you engage, you gauge your likelihood of success. Have you had enough sleep? Are you in any way impaired? Do you have the ability? Do you remember the rules? Did you do your pre-check? Are you good to go? Have you just gone? All those things. And by the way, have you checked similarly the vehicle? Every professional driver is trained to do that. Amateurs are not. And so who can teach us that? I don't know, somebody who is a professional driver, somebody who is a therapist, somebody who is a coach, somebody who is a mentor, somebody who is a friend. When you the buddy system, you got a buddy that you can check in with. Everybody should have at least a buddy. Is it a neighbor? Do you have the phone number of the person who when the power goes out? Do you have the phone number when there's a fire? Do you, when you're leaving a list for the babysitter? Do you leave a list for the babysitter? It's so simple. And the thing is, we don't do it because we're busy. And it doesn't occur to us in that moment of busy that something could go wrong. Oh, no, I'm good. Yeah, you're good now. You're not good when an oven falls out of the sky and lands on the car. When would that happen? I don't know. When it was being delivered by an airplane and somebody left the hatch door not properly secured? I don't know. If people can jump out of airplanes by opening one of those doors, we would go crazy if we spent all our days focused on, oh my God, what could happen? We would never get anything done. So we don't need to do that. We can use a to-do to done list and keep it in the same place with the things we write down in the later folder. And check it at night before we go to sleep. Instead of watching the last 15 minutes of a hair-raising, horrifying, high-speed, scary, screamy thing, it takes 2 minutes, 120 seconds. You can probably afford the time. As I'm putting together Pivotry and the Pivotry collection of tools and the books that define Pivotry and explain how we automatically do so much of it and how much more efficient and happy and peaceful and relaxed and productive we are when we learn how we do it and how we originally learned it and how we can practice it consciously and perfect this ability we have to respond to a situation by bringing out another part of our personality and a different set of skills. Since we already do that on autopilot, becoming aware of it puts us in control of it and in charge of it. And so all of these packages of information, all of these handy little sets of tools and instructions are all being curated and collated and organized and polished so that I can release them, launch them at a fabulous event that we're going to be doing this summer that I hope you will all try to come to in person, and if not virtually, so that we have something really exciting and magical that brings us together as a tribe, that gives us the ability to live the way we always thought we would be living, without overdoing it, without pushing our limits, without ruining our health, and having more fun in the process. So all of these things that I'm talking about in these videos, all of these subjects, all of these what ifs, these are teasers, if you like. We can think of these, it's kind of long today is 47 minutes already. So it's hardly a teaser reel. But let's say that these are the introductions. These are the prequels to the Pivotry series. That is going to be part and parcel of what I do now. I'm still going to be doing my live shows. I'm still going to be doing my comedy, my one-woman shows. And I'm still going to be, doing the speaking and the hosting and the stuff, because I love going to all the parties, as you know. What I also have the opportunity to do, though, now is mentor people. I have a lot of people who are business owners. I have a lot of people who are entrepreneurs who have suddenly realized that they can't control their public self and their private self at the same time. They are overwhelmed, and they're coming to me and saying, how does anybody do this? And I'm showing them. Because I got to tell you, everybody is a decision maker. Everybody is responsible for a lot of people in their lives. We are all part of these different tribes. And if private us hits a wall, all the other versions of us feel the ripple effects. And all those people in all those tribes feel it as well. And if it's happening to us, it's happening to them. And if you have all these ripples going on and intersecting and overlapping and crashing into each other, this would explain why this particular voyage is rough, why the seas are rough, why the waves are unpredictable. We're not making it easy on ourselves. So I'm saying to myself, well, if I'm in a boat and I'm on this ocean, I want to calm it down if I can. And if it benefits everybody else, woohoo. So that's what we're doing, and that's why we're here. So you're my buddy. Yes, I am. Sorry, I missed it. Oh, sorry. Having trouble with your computer. Oh, Freddie, I'm so sorry. It's so frustrating when that happens. So when we appreciate, I'm now reading Matt's comment. When we appreciate more of what we have than what we don't have, well, yes, we'll all be a lot better off. If we set goals for ourselves, yes. If we also reset, rest, recharge times within those plans, we will have the energy, the focus, and the excitement to experience the magic and be part of the magic. So that is my thing for today. When is it too much of a muchness? We want to know before we hit the wall and fall down. We want to see it coming. We want to say, that's going to hurt, rather than that hurts, right? This is what we want. We want to create not a preemptive strike, although that's part of it, but a preemptive aha. We want to be ahead of the breaking wave. There's another snowstorm coming Saturday. Guess who's going to make sure she has milk and juice and soup and wine by Friday? Oh, that would be me. And oh, that's tomorrow. That's why we check the weather. So, with all that said, lovelies, I want to love you and set you free to be and to be calm. And I will have all kinds of lovely, juicy stuff to share next week, because we have a wonderful opportunity. There's a local journalist who landed a book deal. Sent out the query, and wonder of wonders, chased the bus and got it, and said, oh, now what? And the concept for his book is to have a collection of I don't want to say movers and shakers, because that's not, I don't think that's where he's going. He wants to showcase people who live in Ottawa, Canada, who do things that cause people the utmost damned astonishment in one way, shape, or form. And so he reached out to me and he said, want to be in it? And I said, absolutely. He said, can you bring something from the kids show? And I said, absolutely. He said, can you tell me what it is? And I said, nope. And then I called my friend Christine and I said, so are you free? Because if you're free, I'm going to tell him he needs to interview you too. So I called him back and I said, how about this? How about this one? And he said, oh my gosh, yes. Okay, so she's coming. And then I reached out to Carol and I said, so what are you doing Sunday? This poor book guy. He and his photographer are going to come and go, what happened? Hi. Did I mention my people were Vikings? So that's happening Sunday. Snowstorm Saturday. Grocery shopping tomorrow. It's going to be busy. And then, clean up, fall down, rest, recharge, reset, review, recalibrate Monday for next week. So that's my plan. That's my schedule so far. And I'm going to do my best to be ready and rested and filled with anticipation to have fun with this. And I wish the same for you. Wherever you are, whatever you're going through, You're not alone. You're loved. Who you are and what you do has a ripple effect. There are people who are so grateful for you. There are people, as in my life, who are, she's here again. Oh my God. And I don't know whether it's bad, good, or just an element of surprise. But if it's happening in my life, it's in your life too. So cherish that, because none of us could do it without you. And get rested and come back, because I can't do it without you either. All right? And I want you well. I want you rested. I want you enjoying your moments the way I'm enjoying mine. No matter what comes in those moments, I'm finding my ways to say, okay, we're good. We're good. Thank you. All right. That was a win of some kind. So with that said, be good to you. You deserve it. Remember to hug your loved ones. All right? Stay safe. And I'll see you next week. Thank you so much for watching.